Greetings, viewers. What we have for you today is a video I'm sure nobody is going to watch to its conclusion. Why, you might ask? Well, today we are going to be installing Windows 95, as the video title says, from floppy diskette. But we're not just going to be doing it on one machine, we're going to be doing it on two of them at the same time. Now, somebody's going to ask me about specs. I know that's going to happen. So we're going to get that right off the bat. These are basically two identical machines. Now the difference between the two is that the one on the right, the Dell Latitude LM M133ST, is basically a newer revision of the XPI P133ST on the left. They've got the same CPU, it's Pentium 133. I don't even think it's got MMX. Actually, that's not true, because guess what? There's an MMX sticker right on the top of that. So I guess that one's got MMX. However, the XPI does not. The RAM I'm not sure about. I know that this has got 8 megabytes of onboard memory, and that's all the RAM that it's got. This, on the other hand, has got 72 megabytes of memory, and what I'd imagine is that it's got 8 megabytes of onboard memory, similar to this, but it's got 64 megabytes of expansion memory. This had expansion memory, but I removed it because it's Windows 95. It doesn't really need more than 8 megabytes anyway, and I can use that expansion memory to upgrade another system that right now is running Windows 98 and only has 16 megs. That's kind of ridiculous, really. But otherwise, they're the same machine. They both have Neo Magic NM2070 video chipsets. I believe that is the Magic Graph 128ZV. They both have ESS audio drive audio chipsets. They're both pretty much the same machine. It's just that this one is a little bit newer. I think it's got a bigger screen, it's got MMX, it's got a touchpad, it's got a status LCD as opposed to the LEDs that the XPI has. But here we go. The XPI will be getting from this set. This is the gold RTM release of Windows 95, which is exactly the same thing that my XPI back in the day ran. And this is going on the LM. This is Windows 95 OSR2. I've installed Windows 95 from floppy before, but only the gold release. I have never done OSR2. So this could be interesting, and we're going to time them, because why not, you know? Might as well make this video interesting for somebody, right? So, okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is these are both going to get wiped and formatted. So I'm going to start with this, power it up. The boot disk is the first disk in the stack. Of course, it's complaining about the amount of system memory because I actually just changed it. So press F1, and it should boot to the floppy. I'm not so sure you're going to be able to read the displays on these. There's not really much else that I can do with respect to that. I mean, I could try this, but I want to get all of the display on both. So, reading the display is probably out of the question. Alright, Windows 95 setup. You know what, let's boot the other one. Because I'm not, oops, that's not even the right disk. Hopefully I'm not going to mix these disks up. So, yeah, it even says on the BIOS that it's got MMX. I can't believe I never noticed that. Uh-oh. Yeah. That fixed disk name there is a little off. Now, hopefully that's not going to be a problem. I suspect it probably will be, though. Unless it crashed. No, it's still running. I hope the hard drive didn't fail. Okay. Alright. Start the computer without CD-ROM support. Yeah, this is a little bit different. I'm going to quit out of setup here on this. And I am going to F-disk. Yeah, that might still not be working. But I've already backed up everything on this, doesn't really matter. I'm going to delete, and I'm going to delete the primary partition. Should be no volume label, I am positive on that. So it should be empty. Now I just gotta wait on this one. Let's restart. I'd like to time them so that way I can get them going at, the same time. But it looks like this is going to take forever. So I'm going to just get started with this. F-disk. Okay, them both running with their floppy drives. Please enable large disk support. I want to display the information. Looks like we're good to go on that. I'm going to delete. What happens if I delete primary DOS? Yeah, that one. There is no volume label, I am sure. Press escape. And we'll reboot on this one. And hopefully it will work. I'm really hopeful that it will work. That's a little concerning, actually. As you can see, it's still screwed up there. I pulled it out to try and image the disk. Clearly that was a mistake. Start the computer without... I don't need CD-ROM support because it'll never have a CD-ROM drive. Neither of these two systems really support CD-ROM, which is why I'm doing this in the first place. Otherwise, especially in the case of this, I would just install from the CD. But this system does not have the ability to have a CD-ROM at all. And with this one, you need to have a special, because it is a modular bay, but you need to have a special thing that I don't have in order to install a CD-ROM in that. So, oh well, I guess that won't have a CD-ROM. I could probably put the drives in another system in order to install Windows 95, or at the very least format them, get them ready to go, and put the Windows 95 setup files onto the hard drive to install Windows 95. But I'm not going to do that, because hey, this makes video material, and it's less clutter on the drive. But really, mostly because it's, video material for all of you to watch. So clearly, as you can see, the OSR2 setup stuff is different from the gold release. What do we even have on this floppy? It should have setup.exe, right? Or is it just straight a boot disk? Yeah, that's just a boot disk. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on this. We'll configure the unallocated space. Make sure your 95 boot disk is in the drive. And I'm going to actually swap this boot disk out of this one. And we'll get this out of the way. And we'll grab disk A. Disk 1. That should have our setup file on it. But now it's going to format on that. And that might take a while. So I probably will edit that out, because that's not really important to this. Or I'll just time-lapse it, one of the two. I haven't decided yet. It requires a coin flip. Actually, while that's going on, I am going to go ahead and get this one going. That is one loud floppy drive. Please wait while setup initializes. But there's no partition on the drive. That's interesting. Is there something I'm doing wrong here? Yeah, with this machine, I pulled out the hard drive and put it back in, And then it said that it only had, it was only 121 megabytes, which is not correct. So I'm thinking there might be a loose contact somewhere in that drive cage, which is kind of a pain because I don't think it could really replace those. I'm going to see if I can get this to run properly, first and foremost. If I can get that to F-disk, and then we'll come back. Because I don't know what's going on with this, but this is ridiculous. Hear that? That's the sound of a bad hard drive. Okay, well, so much for that. Can't get it to work. I'm tired of dealing with it. I think it's being ridiculous for no reason whatsoever. So we'll just do without. Moving on. Well, you can't read that anyway. We'll revisit it in a later video. know there hasn't been any commentary until this point, but I'm sure you can hear all that noise. Just thought I'd point out that these are brand new, well, new old stock, TDK 1.44 mag floppies. I think it's kind of sad that these are dead right out of the package. And yet I've got floppies that have been rewritten hundreds of times that still work. It's kind of amazing, really. It's also worth noting some of these I had to reformat twice in order to get them to actually start writing properly. It would say that, oh, the disk is write protected, even though it wasn't at all. That click you hear every once in a while is the head park feature. Not really sure why on this particular example of the DMCA 21440 the head park is so aggressive, just that it is. Or maybe it's aggressive on all of them and I just never noticed. This is the last disk. Setup, of course, is not nearly done after this, though. Remove floppies. Obviously, it will need driver installs. I don't think I'm going to include that in this video. Or maybe I will. I don't know, it shouldn't take that long. It's just 2 drivers, really. The video and the audio. Well, I know that's wrong. Oh, that is it. Okay. So, that process took a total of just over half an hour. Which I guess is not that bad, all things considered. But now, of course, we need to install the drivers. I bet this thing is going to want to make driver disks. Okay, well, the good news is that there's audio now. All I had to do was just reinstall the driver. which is interesting, but that's what I did. It seems to work. Unfortunately, there's no stuff really included, so I guess I'll have to port the media files back over to this thing. Off of another Windows 95 installation, but I guess that's not that big of a deal, really, in the grand scheme of things. So, I guess that's really going to conclude this video, because I've done everything I need to do with this, with one exception. Close all these windows, because we don't need them open. And that is to configure the desktop background to Bubbles, which is tiled, which is, of course, the greatest background ever. We need to change our screensaver to Flying Windows. Let's give it the maximum number. See if it can actually handle that. Something I don't think so, but yeah, looks good to me. Love that screensaver. Everything else can stay the same. I'm going to just leave it. And that'll be that. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then. Too bad we couldn't get the other one working, but I guess we'll revisit that later.